Amen. You may be seated. Just a small time in meditation, and then we will go into worship, and then we will go for the rest of the program this morning. Psalm 140 and 41, it's a related psalm and written by David, as the heading says. The enemy was after David again and again, and he needed immediate help. Now, in all this, prayer is the discipline that all of us needs to have, and that is what David does here. He is asking the Lord for guidance and deliverance as he seeks to live the life to the glory of God. Now, it has been suggested that this psalm was written in the cave experience with Saul in 1 Samuel chapter 24, but he was not really in danger. But he probably could also have written it during Absalom's rebellion. But one thing is for sure, he needs God's help. In all of our lives, we need help in a lot of places. It might not be the same for each and every one of us, but it is all different, but it's all a needed, essential thing in our life, that is God's help. David knows that he needs the correction of good friends. He knows all this help is essential if he is to live a life of wisdom and not foolishness. See, life is built on character, and character is built on decisions. The decisions that we make in times of trouble, in times of goodness, determines our future, what it is. So there are a few things that I want to bring in front of you. Verse 1 and 2, it says, O Lord, I'll call to you, come quickly to me, hear my voice when I call to you. May my prayer be set before you like incense, may the lifting up of my hands be like the evening sacrifice. Here, David is seeking the Lord's help. When we are in trouble, when we are going through turmoils in our life, we might seek people's help, but most of the time it is limited. It is limited to place where we can ask, and sometimes they can, and to a limit they might be able to help, but the eternal help only comes from the Lord himself. So seek the Lord's help in every situation that we go through. And so whenever the enemy caused trouble, David's response was to pray. And so how do we seek God's help? And here, as he says, O Lord, I call to you. This morning, this is what the Lord has been speaking to us for the last couple of days, is continue in prayer, seeking his help. He is there right beside you in every situation to help us. Verse 3 and 4, it says like this, set a guard over my mouth, O Lord, keep watch over the door of my lips. Let not my heart be drawn to what is evil, to take part in wicked deeds with men who are evildoers. Let me not eat of their delicacies. See, it is a purposeful decision that David takes and says, I will keep myself from sin. Verse 3 and 4, it says that set a guard. He says that, Lord, I want to set a guard over my mouth. And he says, keep watch over the door of my lips, because sin most of the time starts with the tongue. With the tongue. Yes, it starts in the heart, but it goes in and shows themselves evidently through our lips. So let not sin come out of it. It is a conscious decision. Sometimes you can react. People like me react immediately, which should not happen. Let not us sin with our lips. Let's keep ourselves from committing sin. David faced a great temptation to compromise with the enemy. He knew this was wrong, but they were slandering him, so why he should not slander them? See, there were people who were cursing him. There were people who were slandering him, but he left it to God to take the vengeance. Let us not commit sin purposefully. Number 5 is one of the key part that I want to bring your attention to. Let a righteous man strike me, it is a kindness. Let him rebuke me, it is an oil on my head. My head will not refuse it. See, one of the things that, especially when we are wrong, is we are defensive. We do not want to hear good counsel. It is always good to have people around us, good friends around us, that will keep you counsel. And here it says, let a righteous man strike me. See, there is an old saying by Kabir, for you guys do not know. This is an old Sanskrit slok. It says, Nindak niyare rakhiye, angan kuti chavai, bin pani sabun bin, nirmal kare subai. It's an old Hindi slok, or Sanskrit slok. It basically says, people who are friends that criticize you, keep them near. Without soap and without water, they will wash you clean. This I learned in 6th grade or 7th grade. It's a Kabir Zoha. But understand this, that let us have people, good friends that will counsel you. And I have told you, I don't have too many. You think all of you are my friends. There are very few friends that I have, that I keep on the hands. Always remember, there are too many acquaintances that we have, but we should always have key friends. And I'll tell you, I have, in two hands I can count them, who will criticize me too. Especially we have a group called ICPF Friends. And there is 5-6 of us that is in there. We laugh, we joke, but when we are wrong, we are chastened and we are brought up together. Those are people that will build you up. Do you have people that will also build you up? They might criticize you at that moment when you are wrong, but it is not to harm you, but to build you up. Here David says, let a righteous man strike me, it is a kindness. He is even willing to say that he says, I am willing that somebody will strike me in kindness. And because let him rebuke me, it is an oil on my head will not refuse it. He says, I am willing if somebody is constructively building me up. Don't hesitate to be vulnerable, that you would be able to be built up. Sometimes it might be your elders, sometimes it might be a pastor, sometimes it might be somebody that you look up to. See, discipline and correction is always good. And especially in leadership, sometimes we do not want correction. But here David says, I am willing to take that. Then in verse 6 and 7, he says, their rulers will be thrown down the cliffs. Wicked will learn that my words were well spoken. They will say, as one plows and breaks up the earth, so our bones have been scattered at the mouth of the grave. Here he says, I will let God judge my enemies. See, our reaction in many times is what? Immediately we have to react. See, if it is Saul's case, Saul was right there. He could have killed him. He was right there. But David says, I will not touch the anointed. I will not touch the anointed. Let God be the judge, dear people of God. Let God judge those people that is standing against us for standing and doing what is right. You know, it might look good in their eyes to persecute us, but understand, if you are standing right, even at the cost of your life, it is good that let God judge them. And that is what the David says. And verse 8 to 10, it says, but my eyes are fixed on you, O sovereign God. In you I take refuge. Do not give me over to death. Keep me from the snares they have laid for me, from the traps set by evildoers. Let the wicked fall into their own nets, while I pass by in safety. He says, no matter what may come my way, just as I said this morning, Paul faced all the persecutions. Paul faced the personal conflicts. Paul faced even the physical limitations. Paul faced even the shipwreck. Paul faced even the dangers in all those. But he said, I will keep on going. He says that, let me keep on going by faith. Let me keep on going by faith. So this morning, let us be in an attitude of gratitude to Him who gave it all. In the times of trouble, let us seek His help. In the time of trouble, let us not sin with our mouth or with our life. In this time of trouble or in goodness, let us be willing to accept counsel of God. In the time of trouble, let us give God the room to judge our enemies. And in the time of troubles, no matter what the circumstances, let us keep on going by faith. That is what God desires of us. There is a long journey ahead of us, but with God on our side, He will carry us through. He will keep us from the snares that the enemy has laid for us. He will let the wicked fall into their own nets. Let not us take justice into our hands. Let Him do the just thing. Let us keep on going in the faith life that God has brought us. Amen. May God bless us with this verse. We're going to go into time of worship this morning. I know that it is different than what we do, but we want to make a time of worship this morning before even the children come. Let us take the time to honor God in what He does. Amen. Let us stand in the presence of God. Let us stand in the presence of God and let us give all to Him in worship. Let us not wait that the fire will come in and fall, and let us sing with all our hearts, with all our full ability, and bring glory unto His name. Let us worship.